Why we procrastinate. And how to finally stop. Imagine this. It's midnight, your deadline is tomorrow, and instead of working, you're watching this video. Maybe you tell yourself, just one more episode, or I'll start in 5 minutes. But those 5 minutes turn into an hour, then 2, and before you know it, you're panicking. Sounds familiar? Procrastination is something we all struggle with, but have you ever wondered why we do it? It's not about laziness, it's about how our brains are wired. In this video, we'll dive deep into the psychology of procrastination, exploring the research behind it and, most importantly, how to break the cycle. What is procrastination? Procrastination isn't a simple matter of willpower or discipline, it's a self-regulation failure rooted in how our brains process time, reward, and emotions. According to Dr. Piers Steel, author of The Procrastination Equation, procrastination is a result of how we evaluate tasks based on delay, expectancy, value, and impulsiveness. The longer the delay and the lower the perceived value of a task, the more likely we are to procrastinate. Real-world examples. A student who keeps postponing studying because exams feel far away. A writer staring at a blank page, afraid to start because they want it to be perfect. A professional avoiding a difficult project because they're unsure of how to begin. The psychology behind procrastination. The instant gratification monkey, brain conflict. Our brain is constantly battling between short-term pleasure and long-term rewards. The prefrontal cortex, the rational brain, wants to focus, but the limbic system, the emotional brain, craves immediate gratification. This explains why we'd rather scroll social media or binge watch a show instead of tackling something that requires effort. Dr. Tim Pitchell, a leading procrastination researcher, explains that procrastination is an emotional regulation problem rather than a time management one. When we feel anxious or overwhelmed by a task, we avoid it to experience short-term relief, even though it creates long-term stress. Temporal motivation theory. Developed by Dr. Piers Steel, this theory explains that our motivation to complete a task is directly influenced by its deadline. The formula, motivation equals, expectancy times value, or, impulsiveness times delay. Expectancy. How confident we are in completing the task. Value. How rewarding we perceive the task to be. Impulsiveness. Our tendency to be distracted. Delay. The time until we receive the reward. This is why motivation suddenly spikes when a deadline is near. There's no longer a delay in receiving the reward, avoiding failure. Fear and perfectionism. Procrastination is often linked to deep-seated fears, fear of failure, fear of judgment, or even fear of success. Studies show that perfectionists are some of the worst procrastinators. They delay tasks because they fear not doing them perfectly. Dr. Fushia Siwa from the University of Sheffield found that procrastinators tend to have a harsh inner critic, making them more likely to avoid tasks rather than risk imperfection. How to overcome procrastination, science-backed solutions. The 5-minute rule, trick your brain to start. One of the biggest hurdles is simply starting. The 5-minute rule, inspired by Newton's first law, an object in motion stays in motion, suggests committing to just 5 minutes of a task. Once you begin, your brain naturally wants to continue. This method helps overcome initial resistance. Dopamine detox and focus boosting. Our brains are addicted to instant gratification, thanks to dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure. Social media, video games, and even checking emails give quick dopamine hits, making it hard to focus on tasks that require delayed gratification. Strategies to regain control. Pomodoro technique. Work in focused 25-minute bursts with 5-minute breaks. Website blockers. Use apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey to limit distractions. Structured breaks. Replace mindless scrolling with intentional relaxation like a short walk or meditation. Reframe your mindset. Instead of saying, "I have to do this," reframe it as, "I choose to do this." Studies in motivation psychology show that autonomy increases productivity. When you feel like you have control over a task, it becomes less of a burden. Pre-commitment and accountability. The Ulysses Pact. This is when you commit to a future action in a way that prevents your future self from backing out. Example: writing a non-refundable check to a cause you dislike if you don't meet your deadline. Research shows that external accountability significantly increases follow-through rates. Tools like Beeminder and Stick allow users to put money on the line to achieve their goals. Reward systems and habit stacking. People are more likely to complete tasks when they're tied to immediate rewards. Techniques. Gamification. Turn work into a game, track streaks, earn points, or use productivity apps like Habitica. Habit stacking. Pair an existing habit with a new one, for example, only listen to your favorite podcast while working out. Implementation intentions. Instead of saying, "I'll do it later," plan exactly when and where you'll do the task, for example, "I will study at the library at 2 p.m. Conclusion. Procrastination isn't about being lazy, it's about emotional regulation and how our brain prioritizes rewards. The key is to make tasks feel immediately rewarding while reducing the fear and resistance associated with them. Reflect on this: which strategy will you try first? If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more science-backed insights.